don't stay here, go and do something with your life. He's the businessman. And then I'm the excitement machine over here. There doesn't have to be a winner. You only feel pressure if you put pressure on yourself, I suppose. You're only as busy as you make yourself, or as busy as you think you are. As soon as I get 5 minutes spare, I feel like it's wasted.
We will offend everyone.
Correct, yeah, definitely.
There's a fine line between teaching and doing.
Everything that you do, everything that happens to you in life, every outcome is all to do with how you perceive it. I'll take it on for you, mate. It's all good. I'll sort that out for you. You're the master of your own destiny. Just to have the energy of the crowd just coming back at you, stand up there, you're about out a song. She'll be coming down the mountain, and she comes, and am I dealing with it? No, I'm not. Terrible.
Hello everyone, my name's Strang, and I hope my younger self is listening. Today's guest is one of the most electric combos that we've ever had on the show. A dairy farmer's son, Sparky, cricket team owner, music lover, and one of the best mates you'll ever meet, so I'm told. Please welcome Spies.
Hello, Graham. Hello, mate. Great to be here.
You want to get right into it?
May as well.
May as well. So, you grew up rural, you love music, you worked hard. Give us some insight into what that early family life growing up on the farm at Quinalo was like.
Grew up on a dairy farm, so I think probably one of the toughest professions anyone could want to get into, for the fact that it's always there, it never goes away. Every morning, every afternoon, you're milking the cows, and then you're trying to do everything else in between. Look, growing up as a kid, with that kind of, I suppose, responsibility on your shoulders with the family, it weighs a bit heavy, that for the fact that you don't enjoy it as much as what I think definitely what kids these days, what you call the city kids getting these days, and my kids, I know that. So it was a lifestyle growing up that I probably wasn't overly fond of. As I got older, I came to appreciate it a lot more. But early days, yeah, definitely farm life, the work style of thing that I didn't enjoy. Looking back at it now, thank goodness I had that lifestyle and that upbringing, because I think it's really put me in a good path, and with really great values to with how I sort of conduct myself and what I expect and whatnot these days.
Well, I got a note in here that says how not to lead.
Yeah, okay, yeah. There's a few influences like early on. So my mum and dad. Like I always say that I'm a very boring person, because I'm a white male Australian. My parents were never divorced. I'm still in my marriage. I've got 3 kids. Got my house. Like it's a boring story, really. So and I joke about this because I don't tell my story to a lot of people. So to do this is a pretty big thing for me too. Yeah. So it was more family orientated influences back in the day, because that's all we had. Yeah. We didn't go on holidays. I think by the time I was 15, I'd been to the Sunshine Coast once. I think I'd been to Brisbane 2 or 3 times. 2 of those times it was school. Can't remember what the other one was for, but yeah, we didn't get out and get around much. So you didn't have much exposure to the outside world. There wasn't any internet back then, so there's definitely no devices in front of your face to be able to just search up anything you wanted to. So you found the influences in the people around you. Yeah. So like I said, my mum and dad, they're still together. They're great people. They're great country people, really kind-hearted people. But they never, and not through the lack of want, they never, from what I saw as a child, never went out to actively better themselves or try and do something else. As I've sort of gone through life now, and I've started hearing the stories as to why, like I've heard that my father actually wanted to leave the farm as a teenager, but he wasn't allowed to. So my grandfather was a very hard man, and we were sheltered from that from our parents. We never knew that until we grew into our 20s. But yeah, he's a very hard man. Some of the stories I hear now, I think, holy geez, Dad, how did you not do something very bad at night time? But he didn't, which is good. And but also that shaped the person Dad is now, because when we started finding out about these things, he sort of said, well, that's not the kind of person that he wanted to be. Dad had a fair bit of pressure on him all the time.
Yeah.
I look at my dad and go, yeah, it's what he was afforded was a lot less than what we definitely were. So
where did that bring music and sport into play then?
So the family was always been musical, very musical. So we're country music diehards, always have been. Not saying we don't like other music, but that's where that's been from the country values and Dad.
We play both kinds in our house, country
and Western. Exactly right. So we're actually a part. So from Quinlow. Quinlow's about half an hour from Dalby. So we were part of the Dalby Country Music Club when I was growing up. So started singing from a young age. Dad actually taught himself how to play the guitar, so which was really cool, and he kept on playing it for as long as he could. And then he taught me how to play three chords. Let us say a better country song, three chords and the truth. So he taught me the three chords that he knew, and then I sort of expanded from there and taught myself how to play the guitar. Not extremely well, but well enough that I could sort of
play three chords.
Play most chords these days, and can usually hold a crowd no matter what size. No matter what size these days. So, and so that was where sort of music started, and then we went through our early years doing actually country music festivals. So a place close to Quinlow called Brimaroo had the Brimaroo Big Do, and it was always a rodeo, and that was a country music festival as well. So, and that's where we sort of cut our teeth on the music. Then we used to come into Toowoomba and go to a few competitions there as well.
What years would that have been?
My first one I was 4 years old. My first ever singing competition, and we got third. It was a group with, it was myself and my brother and sister, and then two of my cousins as well. So there's five of us, and we did the old classic "She'll Be Coming Around the Mountain." She'll be coming around the mountain when she comes, and I was the little fella, and I had to sing the verse. We'll kill the old red rooster. So I don't think you get away with singing it these days, but so I was 4 years old. So that was about 1989, 1990, sort of around there, I'd say.
And for a lot of people, that wouldn't realise it was live music and all that sort of thing. They were a large part of what we did. I was at boarding school here in Warwick, and I did trumpet at school in the early 90s, and I used to go out with a mate's family and play in their band at the halls and things.
Yeah.
That was me getting out of school. I think we paid for it all, but sitting in the back down, the second trumpet, it wasn't very good, I can tell you now. But it got me out of the boarding house, so I was pretty happy. So you pulled all that together, but then grade 8 comes along in science class.
That's right. So that's when I look at kids these days and think, we have a lot of work experience guys come through, and girls, and we have a lot of kids talk to you about it, about what they want to do when they grow up, and electrician always seems to be a bit of a flavour of the week, because apparently it's easy, you make lots of money. People sort of see it in a certain life, I suppose. But the reason I got into it was in grade 8. I did a science experiment where we simply had a box, you put a torch battery in it, you hooked up some wires onto a battery, you put a switch, and you turned it on. I thought, how good is that? Bloody cool is that, really? And to this day, I still look at our industry and the electrical industry and go, it still blows my mind. I know all the electrical principles and all that kind of thing, but it still blows my mind how it works. So
has it changed much?
As in the industry?
Or the science behind it?
The science, but no, the science is all still the same. It obviously gets expanded on with all. There's a lot more smarts with it now, obviously, with a lot of Bluetooth, wireless, AI coming into it now. But still, when you break it down to the principles, it's always going to be the same with how it works. So.
I look around the shop here, and they're changing in lighting and things that I thought about doing, and I asked you, you go, no, we don't like that anymore. And we go, so it's just and we're done. Excellent. Lovely.
Exactly.
Where did you do your apprenticeship?
So I started working with an electrical company when I was 13 years old. So in the country school, that's when you started doing work experience. So I was lucky enough at the time. My brother's wife, her brother, so my brother's brother-in-law, was working with an electrical firm. So and we were seeing a little bit of those guys and whatnot. And so when I sort of started sparking a bit of interest into the electrical game, it was started speaking about that. I could probably get some work experience there. So that's where I sort of started. Did a week or 2 weeks there originally. The company sort of went, this guy's not too bad. Mustn't work too bad, or mustn't have anyway. So they started actually getting me back in the holidays to start doing more work experience. Eventually that led into getting paid every now and then, which I thought was great. I didn't expect anything. I was just in there trying to learn and gain some knowledge, and without ever knowing, I never thought about that as a kid. Again, coming from that background of there was something to do, so you just did it. So you never questioned it, because back in my day, if you questioned it, you got a flogging. But so when I came into town to work, it was just you just did what you had to do. You never asked about getting paid or what you were getting paid or anything like that, or lunch breaks or time off, or there was no thought of that. You did what you were told, 100%. No questions asked. So, and that eventually turned into, once I left grade 10, I did a pre-vocational course at TAFE, and then pretty well walked straight into a job. I stayed at the same company the whole time, sort of doing work experience the whole time. So I left home. I moved out of home when I was 15. Which at the time I thought was, I didn't think much of it at the time. Just thought it was amazing that I was sort of getting out of home. My brother and sister had already done that pretty well around the same time. They were around 16 when they left as well. And that was due to mum and dad saying, don't stay here, go and do something with your life. So, and again, that goes back to the experience that they had, I think, on the farm growing up. So, and I'll be forever grateful for them for doing that to us. So, it was it was a fun time moving out, but then you don't realise what comes with all of that. And again, I didn't think about it too much, but you learn to live by yourself. You learn those responsibilities and whatnot without even knowing.
Paying your bills, doing your washing.
Exactly right. Cooking.
The cooking.
The cooking. And we lived in a share house with some other guys from out our way. We knew them very well. They were mates from school, but still, knowing someone and living with someone are two different things. So, but even to learn that psyche of people and know their intricacies and who's cooking on this night, who's doing this, who's doing that, who's doing the groceries and whatnot. It's a massive learning curve for a 15-year-old.
I don't know if the house was anything like one of my first ones, but the best fist fight I've just about ever seen was over not refilling ice trays. There was a fair few. It was quite a modern house at that stage. It was brand new when we moved in, and let's just say we learned how to plaster the walls really quickly. So you learned another skill.
Exactly right.
So you moved out of home, you're in the share house, you would have been qualified by 18 or 19, I'm assuming?
Yes, I was about 19, I think. 19 to 20, somewhere in around there, I can't remember exactly. So I was still with the same company, and I stayed with the same company. The company was a partnership as well. And it was sort of, you could see the writing on the wall that inside of it, there's a little bit of unrest and whatnot. And during that time,
well, that probably brings me to my next.
Yeah, I was thinking it could have.
Because you're only one half of a dynamic duo.
That's right.
And I think Nick would shoot me if I didn't talk about him soon.
Oh no, he might sue you that you do talk about him.
You'll be right. You'll be right. So when did you meet Nick?
So he came and worked for the company that I was at only for about a 6-month period. So I think I was about a third year. Third to fourth year. So Nick came there, and we were put together. I must have been a third year. So at that stage, I'd already had my own van, and I was sort of running around doing my own thing. And then he came along. He was with me as well. So he was a tradesman at that stage. He'd been overseas. He'd lived in England for a little while. And then had just moved back and was just looking for a job, and that was the one he found. So we worked together for 6 months and just hit it off.
Yeah, absolutely hit it off. I've got a whole section on you two down here. But you were talking about a crumbling partnership, it's not going that great where you are.
Yeah.
How did the conversation happen for you two to start working together in your own partnership?
So it was a very simple conversation, and like with most things that I do, I don't, not that I put too much thought into it, but you don't overcomplicate it.
Yep.
So we had the conversation. We're actually doing a cashy with each other, and we were on our way out past Wairema to a horse farm out there for one of Nick's relatives that we were doing some work for, and the conversation was literally as simple as Nick said, I'm thinking about starting up or going out my own. I said, oh yeah, because he had a pretty cushy job at that stage. He was working as a pokey technician, and didn't have to work a lot of hours, got paid really well, had a company car, all the glitz and glamour with it. And I'm thinking, what are you doing? You've got the easiest job in the world. Why would you want to go and start your own business? But anyway, I sort of said, oh yeah, well, things that where I am sort of getting a bit uneasy at the moment. So, if you want to do it, I'll probably jump in with you if you want. And that was as simple as it was. And then we went and did the job, started going home, and pretty well by the time we got back to Toowoomba, the decision was made. That's what we're doing. It was that simple. So it was an opportunity that someone floated, and just we both gravitated to, and thought that yep, it's the right thing to do. It's the right time, and the rest is history.
Oh well, and for people who don't know Nick, you two are very much yin and yang. I mean, but in a very good way. I'm assuming the balance you give each other is part of what's made Livewired work so well.
Yeah, 100%. So, like I said, yin and yang, we are polar opposites, and we know it. We know it. We don't talk about it. I mean, we both enjoy a lot of the same things. We both enjoy having a drink. We both enjoy, getting amongst people and whatnot. But when it comes, and in the business side of things, it's probably where you see it more. He's more a numbers man. Prefers to sit behind a desk, and yeah. Well, I mean, it doesn't mean he doesn't like talking to people or anything like that. Like, he's very good, very good people skills and whatnot. But he's the numbers man. He's the focus in behind he's the businessman. And then on the excitement machine over here, it's definitely served as well.
Do you call yourself the excitement machine, or?
I do, in front of the mirror. Oh, mate, you good to go? No, well, it's on that. We without even discussing it though, we figured out who each other was, I suppose, in a professional sense.
Yeah.
And like you said, it just works. We don't discuss it. It was never planned out that way. It just works with that polar opposites.
And look, it's an amazing thing finding that. Like, Sheila's my business partner, and it's amazing when you've got that yin and yang. You can have some of the most open conversations you've ever had in your life, and you both go, yeah, it's probably fair enough.
Yeah.
I actually don't know if there's a winner.
Yeah, that's right. And there doesn't have to be a winner. And that's the thing. You talk about everything, as long as you've got the same common goal. I think, and without, like I said, we do it without questioning what we're trying to achieve. And we'll talk about things, we'll disagree with things. We disagree with things all the time. Have we had heated conversations? Yeah, we have. Not many. It's amazing. Look, you said about getting into a partnership, and I came from a business where it was a partnership that broke up, and people always said two things: oh, be careful getting into a partnership, and oh, you shouldn't be working with family because Nick's my brother-in-law.
Okay,
there you go. You didn't know that. So, and
that's my one learning.
This is another story: is that Nick laid claim, and he probably can lay claim that that's how I met my wife Amanda. Was through one day she actually called in. She had to go collect the mail every day. So one day she just called in to see Nick, and I saw her standing at the front counter. I went, oh, there's that little piece over there. Hey, oh, she's a bit of all right. And again, the rest is history.
Well, I think Nick might have won because he ended up with you as a brother-in-law.
Oh, shucks. Stop it, you. No, we're both winners there.
Yeah. So speaking of all the time that you and Nick spend together at work, you and I are total cricket tragics.
Correct.
A man called Kent Reamers might have talked us into. Well, did he talk us or just tell us? The area's still a bit grey.
Yeah, very grey.
Yeah, very grey.
Grey.
Thanks, Ken.
Either way, we're happy.
But you took Livewired Electrical into the Livewired Lightning, and you bought a T20 team called the Livewired Lightning.
We did.
And we were foes for a couple of years.
It's friendly foes.
Friendly foes.
Yeah.
How did cricket start for you?
So again, going back to the young years, in country areas, cricket's always a massive sport.
Yeah.
So coming from Quinlow had a cricket team. It didn't have a footy team. It was always that old summertime cricket, wintertime footy. I was never allowed to play footy.
Yep.
Being from the farm, you'd have to travel to go and play footy, trainings and all that sort of thing. I couldn't even. One year, I had mum convinced. But Dad, no way. I hadn't convinced him I could go do a trial at Oakey.
Just time away from the farm, I suppose.
Exactly right. I couldn't afford it. So, nearly had a crack at it when I was, and then Dad got wind of it and nah, you're not doing it, righto. No drums, and even cricket. So always played cricket at school. Was always pretty good at it. I'm not going to say I was a superstar, but there wasn't any opportunities back in those days out there to do anything else with it. So even playing for the local Quinlow Cricket Club, I sort of didn't start until I was about 17 or 18. I think it wasn't until I had my licence, I think, that I started playing with them. So I hadn't really ever played any competition cricket until I was about 17.
Yep.
But I always loved the game. Absolutely loved it. Love the competition of cricket and footy. Just absolutely love them to death. So, but it wasn't until I moved to Toowoomba, and probably until I met my wife Amanda, that her family was into cricket as well, which was great for me because she already liked it. So that's a big win. And then I thought, well, I'm with this girl now, I'm in here, that they've got involvement with this club, I may as well go start playing with that club as well. So that's how I started getting into cricket in Toowoomba, all the whilst I was still playing cricket out for Quinlow out of Dalby and whatnot, travelling to Cecil Plains or wherever we had to go. So back at that time, from 18 through till, geez, I don't even know how many years I did it for, probably 5 years. I played Saturday, Sundays every weekend. So
I just reminded me of playing a 7-a-side comp in Dalby, and I played for Cecil Plains.
Oh, did you?
Oh, I reckon this was late 90s. I don't remember much of the day.
Yep. They're good days, those ones.
I think my car was still parked in Cecil Plains about 2 days later.
It happens. It gets you. And then when you're playing that much, you have no choice but to love it. So
absolutely. So what was your local club you were playing for here?
Northern Brothers Diggers Cricket Club. I get that a fair bit.
Doesn't worry me. But so obviously there came a time we had to give up Quinlow, and then you came playing locally.
Correct, yeah.
We're going to do a bit of fast forwarding because we both play a lot of cricket in town here. Mm-hmm. Can you remember the DDBBL, the Darling Downs Bush Bash, the concept being pitched to you?
I do remember sitting up in our boardroom, Kent being there and pitching this to us and what it's going to be and whatnot. And it was exciting because we didn't have anything around here like that. It was a offshoot, I suppose, of the the IPL in India, which everyone was. That was sort of, for Australia, I think it was still quite new.
Yeah.
And only just getting exposure at that time. So it was very exciting. And like I said, it didn't take much thought process again to go, is it going to be fun? Is it going to cost us too much money or too much time? No. Yes. Done. Let's get into it. Hell yeah.
And it was fun. You won the first year?
Won the first year.
In your first year?
Yep.
You got the second year, and I can't remember who won the third. Escaping me. Ken will comment somewhere and tell us.
Yeah, he will.
Look, the DDBBL was fantastic. Unfortunately, that big Brisbane com came along, and that's basically what killed us.
Pretty well.
We couldn't get those better players.
Yep.
But all I remember is the community stuff we got out of that was fantastic because there was just so much excitement because there was nothing like it.
That's right.
Not in the league, not in union. It was just nothing like it. And then somehow you got talked in to the Darling Dingoes.
Yeah, let's take it up a notch.
Well, that's when I said no.
Yeah. And I'm not going to say smart move because the Dingoes has been an amazing journey.
Oh, yeah.
So don't get me wrong. Like people say, why did you do it? Like it obviously cost a lot more money to be involved. And it's a lot bigger commitment. You got a whole junior comp I think overall they got like over 600 players that play in that competition. So there's a lot of people depending on you, and as a franchise, with certain expectations, I suppose, of what you bring and what you bring to the competition. So, I definitely want to say it's been a great experience. Definitely hasn't been a bad one. It's been great. I've got to meet people that would never have a chance to meet. I know Chris Lynn by first name basis, Ian Healy on a first name basis. Like, it's been absolutely amazing.
We go on from both of those, and then we can start talking about lightning syndications.
Yeah.
Because we've got nothing else better to do.
Nothing better to do. What do we want to do? We start watching a few horse races and start enjoying it, and then we think, oh geez, we would buy one. There's a friend of ours that had horses before, and Nick and I are getting keen on watching the horse races, and he said, oh well, we could buy one and put it with a trainer that I know. Oh geez, this sounds like a great idea. Just get a cheap one. But he just running around town here, get a win or two here or there. Just a bit of excitement. There's only the three of us in him. So we bought our first horse in 2020 called License to Rock. And love the name.
Such a fitting name.
Love the name.
You wouldn't have read about it if it couldn't walk. You would have bought it.
Yep. And that's about how quick he was, I tell you. He never won a race, but he provided us with some of the biggest thrills. Came second one night here in Toowoomba by dead set. It was his lip, and he's actually, with the way he's mouth is, it looks like he's smiling as he's running past the post because it's like he thinks he's won. It's so funny. But anyway, his nickname was Buddy, and we always refer back to Buddy, and we loved him to death. So he was our first one that we ever bought, and we just did it. It was only for us to start with. Only ever had one, and then we started telling people about it, and then someone said, oh yeah, well, I always thought about getting into horse racing. Oh, how you do that? And at that time, other than the trainers around town, if you didn't have a connection with someone who was already in it, I think it was a bit hard to get in.
Yeah.
So, and look, maybe not much has changed, but we sort of said, well, why don't we sort of make it simple and just see if we can buy a couple of these tried sort of cheaper horses and get people into it.
Yeah.
If they want to. We sort of started tinkering around with it a bit, and then we sort of like, hey, we need to think of a name for this thing, and we need to think of some colours and the branding and some logos, and of course everything we do. So obviously Livewired Electrical, the Livewired Lightning, and our Lightning syndications. It's all the purple with the yellow, and then the yellow lightning bolt has always been is integrated into all of that as well. So that's our colours, the purple and yellow. So it all just worked really well.
But one thing I want to take you back to, and probably you don't hear yourself saying it enough, is that each one of these has their own community. Each one of these has their own connections.
Yep.
There's probably plenty of overlaps there as well. But you think about if you actually sit back and you look at that Toowoomba community connection, it's probably bigger than you think or ever realise.
Definitely, and it's one thing we're beginning to realise now, especially the horse racing's it's still very newish for us. We're starting to meet a lot more people around the Clifford Park, the turf club there, and the people that do have involvement with it, people that you never knew had involvement with it before. Then all of a sudden your name's getting thrown around a bit. Like we sponsor a few races now and whatnot. But like you said, the overlap is crazy. The people who are in cricket, even in our cricket club at Diggers, the guys there that I never knew beforehand that we're into racing that are now, and now all of a sudden they're going, oh well, we'll buy a share in one of your race horses, and it's really cool to see that involvement and people's.
Does a bit of pressure come with that?
Oh, pressure comes from everything. You only feel pressure if you put pressure on yourself, I suppose.
Which is what takes us into the next bit.
The next segment.
It is. So the next segment we talk about, it's I call it the mental health part almost.
Yep.
You know, I've been through it here. That there are days when you feel like you just work, sleep. You sort of haven't seen your kids, and your wife's a little bit grouchy with you because there's 15 things you haven't done.
Only a little bit.
Only a little bit. Look, I'm on camera here, so and so are you. How have you balanced that? Because I know you and I have talked briefly about this before, just randomly, that it's its own set of pressures and battle.
Definitely. And I'm the first to admit I'm terrible at it. I definitely don't manage my time good enough. That's one of my personal traits that I really should work on more, but I don't, because and I say the words too busy, and again, you're only as busy as you make yourself, or as busy as you think you are. No matter who you are, everyone's got, it's the age-old adage of everyone's got 24 hours in the day. So it's what you do with those 24 hours. I look at what I do now, and I have people say to me, "Oh, you've got so much going on," and yeah, we do. But I also think, "Oh, I could and should be doing things so much better because I haven't done this and I haven't done that, and I had this half an hour time here where I rang someone or talked to someone or did something where I could have actually been doing something else and doing it better." So I definitely criticise myself a lot on that. I'm a procrastinator, which I really don't like as well, which doesn't help the getting things done.
For me, because you and I have similar traits with it, I call it the shiny butterfly.
Yeah.
Shiny butterfly. And I completely lose track of what I was actually doing there.
Yeah.
And it probably, for me, it's very unlucky. I've got young girls like Jamie and Chloe who are so black and white, they'll pull me back because they're like, we can't complete this without you. And Tila does the same for me. She goes, I can't finish this. I need you back. And do you have that with, so I'm assuming with Nick and Amanda that they do the same to you? It's like, we can't finish this until we...
Yeah, I do. Yes, we do. Amanda sort of lets me just do my own thing a lot of the times. Nick's the one in the business sense that does, but also in the business we can both do pretty well everything. So if one of us doesn't do something, the other one can pick it up, sort of thing. A lot of the time. So I probably need more of it, to tell you the truth. And I'm also a bugger for never asking for help. If something needs to be done, I won't put you out to get it done. I'll make sure I'll just do it.
How do you balance, and this is one of my biggest challenges, and I've only really learnt it with my youngest, how have you battled the missing stuff with the kids?
I must say I try my hardest. I try my hardest not to miss things, and I actually do. I actually get to most things. I'll be late. Don't get me wrong. And again, that's another thing. Being on time, I'm terrible for being on time to things. So another trait I've got to get better at. But if I do miss something, like I'm filthy at myself. But these days there's so much going on now, especially like school things and whatnot. There seems to be something every week you got to try and get to. And sometimes it's just not possible. You just can't do it. But if it's something major, like if it's a sporting event, like a major sporting event, or it's a major milestone for the kids, 100%. I'll be there. Like the kids are your world at the end of the day. So, and if something else has got to suffer, then it's got to suffer.
So, one of the things you've mentioned to me before is that, and you've said it earlier, is that you are your toughest critic. Mm-hmm. You put a lot of pressure on yourself. I've got a note in here around some ADHD. How have you managed those?
Not well enough, to tell you the truth.
And if you were going to give someone some advice who's younger than you and trying to face it, what would you tell them?
I see myself as someone who I'll give my opinion. I won't say that it's advice, because I don't feel, I've experienced a lot of things, but I'm definitely not an expert in every area. Do I know what to do in that? And it's only recently actually that Amanda and I have been starting to talk about the ADHD sort of thing, for the fact that we're pretty sure that our youngest has got it. So he's shocking in the fact that he can't concentrate on something. You're trying to sit down with him and do a task, and he just can't focus long enough to get it done. Poor little bugger. And then I actually see traits in him, and it's teaching me, going, holy dooly, I find myself that I'm doing the same thing. And then you start thinking back about times in your life and conversations you've had with like business coaches and whatnot about learning personal profiles and things like that, and you go, well, holy dooly, all the traits that I've got is, you look up ADHD traits in you, that's pretty well it. Like, oh, I'm terrible. Like, even talking about things like this, I get off on a tangent and I forget what I was talking about. It's terrible.
Yeah. But are you learning to take care of yourself better because you're now starting to be more aware of these things?
So it's only been recently that we've sort of started to have the discussions, probably within the last 12 months. Oh. So has it always been something in the back of my mind personally for me? Yeah, it has. Am I dealing with it? No, I'm not. Terrible. Again, I definitely don't look after myself for the fact that I'll always make sure I put my time in for someone else before I do it for myself, which is it's a terrible mindset to have.
Because I'm assuming there's a lot of guilt that comes with that too. It is.
It's whatever you take on, and it's again another trait that I'm really poor at. I'm a bit of a yes man. If someone needs something done, or they want something, like Kent coming to us with the DDBBL, or the Dingoes, they needed someone to take the team. Like, yeah, okay, yep, we can do it. Much to the demise. How are you going to do it? I don't know. We'll make it work. And I always say that to a man. It's like, how are you going to do this? I don't know. We'll make it work. It's all good. It's all good. And then you get yourself. It's almost like you dig yourself into a hole, and then you're shoving like crazy to try and get yourself out. You're working hard. And you do nothing, but you feel like if you don't get it done, you're letting people down. And that's, I know, I'm a people pleaser. Like I said, I'll say yes to something because I'm trying to make you happier. I'm trying to make your life better somehow. I don't know why I do it, but I bloody do it.
So have you found a way to, therapy is the wrong word, but, you talk about music a bit. Is that something that allows you to just give yourself some downtime?
Whenever I do it, yes.
Do you do it enough?
No way, because as soon as I have 5 minutes spare, and again, this is the psyche in here, that as soon as I get 5 minutes spare, I feel like it's wasted because I haven't done something with that time. Or, yeah, I could be doing this, or I should be doing that. Like right now in the back of my brain, I've got 15 things going. You know how it is when you're with things at work. Oh, with this and this and this that I didn't get done today that I should have been doing, or I wonder what the kids are doing because the young fella threw a tantrum before I left before. So, geez, I hope he's being good at the back.
I got a classic example. Yesterday, Till and I are having a down day watching a TV series together, and I happened to go and let the dogs out. And she came, "What are you doing?" And I'd hung out 2 loads of washing. There was another one on, and I loaded the dishwasher.
Yep.
And because it needed to be done.
Yep, that's right.
And my wife was grumpy with me because we were actually sitting there together watching a show, and I'm like, crap. And I had to pull myself back and sit back down and go, it's okay.
Yep.
It's hard.
Yeah, it is. And that's, again, like I said, it's something that they should work on is that sometimes your own well-being is better than others, but yeah, we'll work on that.
So our next bit's talking about leadership, Toowoomba, giving back, and we've covered a lot of community stuff in here. Yeah, you're about as political as I am, because neither of us should end up on a council or running for a seat, because we will offend everyone.
Correct, yeah, definitely.
But you do end up being involved in the background a lot.
Oh, you do. And I've actually had people say to me, "Oh, geez, you'd be good running for council or something like that." And I'm like, no, I wouldn't be, because I wouldn't have the focus to be able to, one, to put into it, and number two, I try and please everyone.
Yeah.
Which is just not the right thing. You need to be a lot more task driven and whatnot, I think, in those roles. So, it's something that, and politics all the way up to like the Prime Minister, the election that was just on.
Yeah.
You have as much involvement as you want to. I didn't have a lot of involvement in it this time. I thought it will be what it will be. I heard a good line, an interview the other day. It flashed up on Facebook that I had a little listen to, and it was a bloke that said about no matter what the rules are, who's in charge or what the rules are, the rest of the day, all the rest of us are just pawns in those rules, and it's what you do with your time within those rules, or how to bend those, which determines your outcome.
Yeah.
So instead of getting so wound up about what's going on up here, just maybe a little bit more focused down here, about in your own space.
The reality is we're not going to affect it anyway.
No, exactly. And which is, and you can sometimes say it's a poor attitude, and it can be like, I suppose it's almost like should you even go and vote? Because does one vote really count? Probably not in the overall scheme of things, but lots of one votes do.
The percentage of donkey votes this year was huge.
Was it?
Yeah.
Didn't even look into it.
If my father's heavily involved, I knew every number.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, but anyway, those politics know nothing because they've never been involved in running junior sport.
That's exactly right.
I'd rather be Prime Minister than do that again.
Yeah, no, junior sport's fun though.
It is fun, as long as the parents are sitting down on a tree about 500 yards away.
Exactly.
I love you all, by the way. But that's talking. Now we're talking politics and a bit of leadership. But if you bring that back into your business, how do you lead your team?
Oh, it's a good one. What's a good answer? How do I do it? Leadership is, for me, a lot more through action.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, I can spin a yarn with the best of them, but again, I put the pressure on myself to try and make sure you're there, and always seem to be the last one to walk out the door. And that's been a trait, and whether that's work, whether it's an event or whatever it is, we always seem to be the last ones to walk out the door, because you're always with the last one to talk to someone before they leave or whatnot. And then at work, it's always making sure that everything's done.
Yeah.
As flighty as I am, I like knowing that the door's locked and that you walk out the front door and you know everything for the day is done. It's complete. You can kick that off, put a line through it, and then move on to the next thing.
Same here. I hate leaving middle afternoon to go do something, even though I do more of it now because I go over and go and do something.
Yeah.
But this one of the things I've learned is so much to doing the dishes, emptying a bin. I get on the blower at the front and clean this place.
Yep.
If you're seen doing it, I never understood it as a 20-year-old what that meant to now. Them seeing you on the tools, or them seeing you going and doing a bullshit job that no one wants to do.
Yeah.
They look at you different too, like, oh, well, if he's willing to do that.
Yeah, that's right.
So bad.
That's right. That's right. And look, leadership can be through a lot of different things. And in that sort of sense, it's actions speak louder than words, I suppose. But do I see myself as a leader? Not really. No. Again, I'm very, very critical of me.
But do you think you're seen as a leader?
I do, and that's not just in a work sense. Outside of that, like even in the cricket club, I'm president of the cricket club, but I don't see myself as one who's in charge of everything. I talk to the people around me, the secretary, the treasurer, senior players and whatnot, and we talk about it and we come up with an outcome. Not the fact that I just go, this is what's happening and this is what we're going to do.
One thing, going back to your ADHD and the fact that you like to do everything and make sure it's perfect, when did you learn to delegate then? Because I'm assuming earlier you didn't.
No, and I still don't now. Not as good as what. I know it's a tricky one because there's the saying of you've got to let someone do their job. So if I've got a tradesman there, then they've also got to do their job though. Yeah. But as soon as something gets hard, I'll go in there and take that load off of them, sort of thing. So yeah, it's a tricky one. It's a hard one.
Because there's a fine line between teaching and doing.
Yeah, definitely. And I love to, especially in our electrical trade, I used to love teaching the young guys coming through, teaching the common sense things, not just the electrical side of things, but little things on how to get cables up and down walls and how to talk to a customer and win them over. Like, we'd jump back in the van and I'd say to the apprentice, there you go, mate, just another happy customer. Because you've gone that extra mile, you've swept up, you've made them known that you've left their house cleaner than what it was when you got there. Everything's 100% right, and they are happy to the hilt by the time you walk out that door.
And send them their invoice.
Yeah, that's right. Here you go.
That's probably a little thing I touch on a little bit. Money is such a tricky thing when you're working for yourself, because everyone thinks you've got it. Half the time you don't. When you do start to get along, then everyone sort of looks at you a bit like, oh, you guys have got plenty of money. What are some of the money lessons you've learned along? Because you're coming up to 20 years doing this?
20 years next year. Look out. What, party time? Looking forward.
If you could go back and tell yourself a money lesson, what would it be?
Money lesson. The money lessons come hard usually. And look, we've been very fortunate in that the business has always been quite successful. We've never had many down times. We haven't. It always hasn't been super profitable, but we've learnt how to manage that, I suppose.
Yeah.
Personal wise is one thing I'm learning a lot more now is just using cash flow wisely and investing wisely.
Yep.
Investing's a lot easier when you got cash flow. So even if you're not making money, it's a lot easier to invest when you got cash flow.
Yeah.
So you utilize cash flow.
So we've done the money question. What's something you just, in life in general, you'd like to go back and tell yourself a little bit earlier?
Ooh, did I? Geez.
If you want to twig, you've written the word perception.
Yeah. And that's a greater one. So if I can go back and tell myself something, it'd be, and I should tell myself now, don't be so hard on yourself. But like you said then, the word perception, and I use this in some conversations that I have with people now when we get deep into the meanings of life and whatnot. I talk about that everything you do, everything that happens to you in life, every outcome is all to do with how you perceive it. So we can sit here, two similar people, we can see an event happen, and how we walk away from the event is 100% how you perceive it.
Yeah.
So you can look at it in a bad way, I can look at it in a good way, we can walk away from here and we can tell our conversation to different people in a completely different light on the exact same scenario.
And we've actually got a story for that. DDBBL.
Which one?
That's a catch that Sam took it to down in Gatton, to which once I found out about it, absolutely gutted me because it was an accident. It was a misinterpretation. You took the high. You were absolutely not worried about it whatsoever. I was destroyed because I felt like I'd done the wrong thing by you.
Yep.
And I was still very grateful for the fact it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It don't matter.
And again, and that's right, that's perception of it was only a game at the end of the day. We're all there to have a bit of fun.
Yeah.
Winning's nice, but it's not the be all and end all, is it? So that's right. You could turn that around, and if you had a bad attitude about it, then it could have ended very differently. It could end with two people falling out, becoming enemies.
You said to me, and your line was, mate, if taking that catch is what we had to do to win the game, we obviously didn't play well enough.
Yeah.
And that just calmed me straight away because I'm like, okay. Because, I still remember talking to Ken about it, and the whole thing just absolutely wrecked me because I just felt like I'd done the wrong thing.
Yeah, but whether that's in perception, whether it's in business or personal stuff, I tell myself, and because I'm such a raw emotional person, I need to try and calm myself. I tell myself, try and look at it in a different vein. Whether it's something in business, or whether it's something my kids have done, or whether the wife and I are having an argument, I try and tell myself, try and look at it in a different manner. Again, to calm yourself and try and create a better outcome. But it's not always easy to do, is it? Emotions can get in the way of a lot of things.
Look, it's a really bad saying from me, but I feel like emotion has no place in business.
No, it doesn't, which thank goodness I've got Nick there to keep me intact.
And Teal and I go through it because Teal, we always talk about, and I've said it before on here, Teal is the extra emotion I need to function, because when I get in here, I treat everyone like employees. I don't care if it's Jamie Lee or Teal or Michael, or whoever it is, but I need Teal's emotion to keep me real, because otherwise, and I think I'd probably make mistakes doing that too. Yeah,
100%.
Yeah.
Look, I can't completely agree with you there. There has to be some emotion in it, because if there isn't, people wouldn't enjoy it. I don't think so, and that's where I bring some of that emotion to the table with Livewired. Like I said, Nick's very business focused, very, very, very straight up and down the line with a lot of these things. But I bring a little bit of that spice, bit of salt and pepper over here.
The excitement
machine. Look out.
So one of the things I started finishing up with is it's the hard way lesson, and it's if you've learned one or two things the hard way, if you could repeat them to someone, what are they?
Responsibility is a lesson that I think needs to be learnt a lot more these days. It's a trait in kids, and I see it in my own kids, where they're just not responsible for everything. Everything's past the buck, and let's go back to the politics thing. Yeah. It's either, if something's gone wrong, it seems to be a deflection.
Yeah.
It's always a deflection to someone else or some other reason why it's gone wrong.
And it's hard because the best response you get is when you put your hand up and say, that was me, I'm sorry. Look, you just buggered it.
Yeah, exactly right. Exactly. And a lot of times you'll find that the consequences for doing that are a lot better than the alternative.
Say it was Thursday and a full moon, and
exactly right. Exactly right. And look, it's something that I think everybody needs to work on. But it's something that I learned at a young age, is that responsibility, and that's why I suppose I do those things. Like, if you're having a hard time, I'll take it on for you, mate. It's all good. I'll sort that out for you, because unknowingly you can take on the responsibility of something without it affecting you.
You've got a sentence here that says, if you don't like where you are, change it. If you love where you are, honour it. What do you mean?
If it comes down to the line of you're the master of your own destiny.
Yeah.
And it is. And look, again, I'm not saying I'm perfect at it, because there's things that I definitely want to change in life as well. But yeah, if you're in a situation where it's utterly terrible, then it's only you that can change it. But then on the flip side, if you're in a position where something good has happened, or you've achieved something, celebrate it. You need to make sure, I think, on either side, and this is probably one thing I am getting better at, is celebrating my victories.
Yep.
Make sure you give yourself a little pat on the back every now and when something's gone good.
My wife tells me to do that all the time. I'm terrible for it.
Yeah, so am I, but starting to get a little bit better, I think.
So now we're on to the book of questions. So in this question, our last guest, Michaela Smith, wrote her question in here that you get to answer. I don't know what it is. Ooh. You get to open the book up, read it out loud.
Let's hope it's on the right one.
And
is it the right one? This page, here we go. Michaela Smith, there we go.
If you're from around here, chances are you've worn something that we've embroidered, printed, pressed, or branded. Whatever it is, we just get it done. So if you need something, drop in and see us.
If you could swap places with anyone in the world for a day, who would it be and why?
This is almost predictable.
You reckon? Oh, I don't know. Geez, I might have to. Oh, that's a tough one. Anyone in the world for a day? Only a day?
Yep.
I would say probably Keith Urban.
Yep.
One, because I'd love to have that man's talent. He's absolutely phenomenal songwriter, guitar player. Love to be able to play the guitar like that.
Oh yeah.
And singer-songwriter. On a day where he's performing at like a massive concert, because I've been to see him a fair few times, and just the raw energy that you get from in that arena. It's something like, if you've never performed on a stage in front of a fair few people, it's a different feeling than you get anywhere else. It's absolutely insane. Like the biggest I've ever done is probably a couple thousand, and just to have the energy of the crowd just coming back at you, stand up there, you're about out a song. For him, he playing lead solos and whatnot, running around the crowd, just getting that absolute energy. It's a raw energy that doesn't include drugs or alcohol. Probably can do, but mostly it's the emotion and the absolute love of music and what you're doing as an individual. People are just absolutely mind-boggled over what you're doing, going insane. That feeling is something that you can't get anywhere else.
We had Simon
York.
Yeah, and he said a lot of the same things.
Yeah.
I was actually guessing he might have said a cricketer at some point.
Yeah. Love to be a cricketer, but
what you said about music, it's very similar. Simon said a lot of the same. It's how it gets you.
Oh, it gets you, and that's why I always wanted to be a performer growing up, or like as a kid, I said, I'd love to be an actor or anything like that. But and I guess it almost comes down to, again, it's that personal trait of getting that emotion from a crowd gives you personal satisfaction that you're giving them satisfaction.
You could write your question in there.
I'll write my question. I have to remember what my question was.
You can start it.
Start a new page?
Start a new page.
Rightio, let's go.
By the way, for me, I would have loved to have been Alan Water when he was doing the 100. In my opinion, it was over 2 days. His 100 not out, 98 not out in Barbados against the Windies. Just the mindset of you're not going to beat me.
Yep.
I've always been fascinated with him and as a cricketer because his tough time, you know, he probably did nearly Australia's toughest period and dragged them all with him. Just blows me away. So
There we go.
20
Good luck
years.
to the next person.
Yeah, good luck with the next person. So 20 years worth of Livewired next year.
Yeah.
It's a major milestone.
Major milestone. There'll be a party somewhere.
There'll be a party somewhere.
I think you said it was something.
You just got to put that out so we can all turn up and drink a beer.
Yeah, it'll be open to many people. I'd say that party. It'll be, I don't know what we'll do or where we'll do it, but hey, 20 years, not a lot of people. We got told when we first started, if you make it past 2 years, I think you're better than 80% of businesses or something like that. Also, 93% of stats are made up on the spot or something like that.
Yeah, something
I
like
heard,
that.
yeah.
My father told me that it takes 5 years to get established and 10 years to get known.
There you go. Some good stats coming out, right?
I know. Hopefully they're accurate. What else have you got coming up?
In the land of Livewired, it tinkers along. At the moment, we've sort of, people used to always ask us at the beginning, like, what's your plans, what's your goal, do you want to take over the world? And early on, we're like, early business plans were, let's get to 5 years and let's hope we have 1 or 2 blokes working with us. I think after about less than 12 months, we already had 3 or 4 employees or whatever it was. It sort of went up in the air. So business plans or whatnot, we've never been great at making them. We're sort of in a position now where it's rolling along quite nicely, so we're just happy for it to evolve. Is Livewired what I'm going to do forever? I don't think so. Love the electrical industry. Is the passion there like it used to be? Probably not. 20 years is a long time in anything, so I'm not saying we're going to jump out and just we're going to do something rash or anything like that, but look, if another opportunity come up, we'd
Consider it.
consider it, that's for sure.
Sorry, I'm 5 years behind you. So I've got 15 here.
If you want to buy an electrical business, let me know.
We'll talk about a work on safety business. There is an exciting new development project that you're going to tease and Beth.
Yes. So it's not even public knowledge yet. So it's
This is just a teaser.
That's right. It's just a teaser. It's a little thing in a little town just outside of Toowoomba. Pretty easy to guess where it might be. Yeah. So we bought a block of ground about 3 or 4 years ago, and we've been working in the background to do some developments on there. So look, it's definitely very exciting. It's also extremely scary. It's a space that I've never played in before, and what we're doing is probably a bit big for what we should be doing straight away. But
So once you've done it, can you come back and tell me all about it so that I know what I don't need to do?
definitely 100%, I'm an open book.
So you got that happening. What about the Livewired Syndicate? You've got DDBBL, you've got diggers.
Yep.
Anything happening in those spaces that's...
So I've been president of Diggers now for a couple of years, so I definitely don't want to do that for too long. I think anywhere where someone's a president becomes stale after 3 or 4 years.
Yep.
So that'd be the max that I want to do that. So this is my 3rd year, so maximum 1 more. I just want to create good procedures there to make sure that when we pass it on, that the next person who comes in goes, yep, this is what we do. Exactly right. They could roll on with the flow pretty well.
Yep.
DDBBL, it'd be great to bring it back.
Yeah.
We were only speaking the other day, Nick and I, about even trying to do it in a sort of a junior space.
Look, I had half a thought about North Toowoomba versus South Toowoomba, or West versus East, or
You could
something.
just do north, south, east, west. It could be something as simple as that.
14, Tom.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. We've got 2 teams sold already, so we need another 2. You like?
There you go.
Yeah, who's got an idea?
We'll get on this.
You could almost do a separate video about that.
We could. Dingo's Space, we're rolling Get Round again this year. The ownership group of it's changed from Century Cricket to Century Champions League. I can't remember what it's called now. So it's a bit frustrating sometimes that the changes that is happening with that competition. They reduced the amount of the amount of age groups that are playing now this year. So it's a little bit frustrating. But there's more teams going to be involved. So look, we're going to roll around again this year and see how it goes. Again, it's something that 4 years, I think it might be that might be nearly time to let someone else have a go at it after that. Look, like I said, we've loved it, enjoyed our time throughout it, and wouldn't have it any other way. But yeah, again, life's evolving. I think you need to keep on challenging yourself and doing new things. So
yeah, but I think that doing new things is something that's on my radar. I'm just trying to mentally battle my way to that space
and figure out what that new thing is.
Absolutely, mate. It has been an absolute pleasure to have you on here. It's been open, it's been honest, and we've got some idiosyncrasies, but I just love them. I can't wait to see what else you do.
Cool.
Thanks
very much, Strang.
Thank you very much for being on the podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching The Hard Way, episode 13, I think we're up to, looking through the third wall. If you are looking for us, you can find us on YouTube, you can find us on Apple, you can find us on Spotify. Just search The Hard Way podcast. Subscribe, share, follow, ask questions. If you want to come on the show, send me a message. We'll see what we can work out. Thanks, team.